Greetings, M squared here, and today we're going to talk about identifying the 4 different kinds of functions we've learned. So let's get started. We have learned about linear functions, quadratic functions, absolute value functions, and just recently, before we had the shutdown, we were learning about exponential functions. So in today's assignment, you're going to have to go to Desmos and do a card sort, which means you're going to have a variety of functions and graphs, and you are going to have to match them. So let's remember what linear functions look like. Linear functions always have an x and a y, but there's nothing strange going on with the x. There's no squared or square root. It's just a plain old x multiplied by a number, something added. All of those are linear functions. Sometimes you could also have just a y equals 3. That's a horizontal line, or you could have an x equals 7. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. That's not a function. It's a line, but it's the only kind of lines that aren't functions because it's a vertical line. Vertical line test doesn't work on a vertical line, so it's not a function. Pictures of lines? I don't really need to go into any detail. You know what lines look like. So the most recent one you might remember are quadratic functions. We did that just about a month or 2 ago. And quadratic functions always have an x squared. So there's an x squared there, an x squared here. This was standard form. This was vertex form. So you don't really see the x squared, but you see the squared out here. So eventually it's going to be x squared. Quadratic functions always look like u's. They're called parabolas. So those are quadratic functions. Next, we have absolute value functions. It's pretty easy to identify those because you have those little absolute value marks. You will always have them. The x will always be inside for an absolute value function. Then you got a plus or something or minus multiplied out here. Those are absolute values. They look like these. Finally, exponential functions. Now that was what we were doing just before we left for our non-vacation vacation. And here we go. X is the exponent. That's why it's called exponential. Get it? Exponential. X is the exponent. That's right. These will look like these little kind of weird shapes where it starts off really kind of going up slow and then it goes really fast. Starts off slow, goes up fast. So you always have like that the initial value and then some number that you're multiplying over and over and over again. Okay, so now I'm going to ask for some of you to help me because we are going to look at these and I'm going to ask, hey, does anybody know what kind of function number 1 is? Let's see if we can zoom in a little. We'll get a little bit closer there. Number 1, can I have some help? Zach, can you help me? Yeah, that's a linear function. I can tell because nothing weird's going on with x. Thank you, Zach. Absolutely right. Number 1 is linear. Emma, can you help us with number 2? Oh, I got it. That is a quadratic function because of the x squared. Very nice, Emma. Thank you. Quadratic. And yes, you can tell because of the x squared. Okay, Avery, why don't you take number 3? Number 3 is definitely exponential because it has an x as an exponent. But the other way I remember is because exponential functions are kind of like my smile when I turn my face sideways. Thank you, Avery. That's right. It's an exponential function, and you can tell because the x is the exponent. All right. How about Kano? Do you want to help us with number 4? Number 4 is pretty easy to me. I see the little bars, absolute value all the way. Nice job, Kano. Okay, who wants to do number 5? Sure, go ahead, Rachel. Definitely exponential because x is the exponent. Wonderful job, Rachel. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see. Bryce, you are on for number 6. What kind of function is that?
Got no idea. Where's the x?
Yeah, hey Bryce, that can be a little tricky right there. There's no x, so you have to kind of remember that when it's just a y equals some kind of number, that's a horizontal line. So no x, just a number, horizontal line. So that is linear. Yep. Okay, who wants to be next? Aiden, you're up. Let's see. What do you think about number 7? What kind of function is number 7? Yeah, the squared is a giveaway. It's quadratic. Anytime there's an x squared, quadratic. Nice work, Aiden. Okay, we're almost, we're a little over halfway. Let's see about number 8. Nora, what do you think about number 8? What kind of function is that? When there's a tiny little x as an exponent, that always means it's exponential. Great job, Nora. Okay, on to Danny. Would you help us with number 9?
Kind of tricky because I think it might be exponential because there's that little x on the top, but then there's a 3 by it. M squared, can you help me out with that one? Is it exponential?
Yeah, that might be a little tricky right there, but it is definitely still exponential because of that x. If the x had something else like an x squared or something else weird like a variable with it, we might have to go a different route. But a number with the x, still exponential. So good observation there. And let's see, Cole, could you help us out with number 10? What kind of function is number 10? Whenever you see the absolute value bars, then you know it's an absolute value function as long as x is in the middle. Thank you, Cole. Alrighty, Bella, what do you think about number 11? What kind of function is it?
Well, when there's nothing funny going on with x, there's no squared, there's no absolute value, and x is not an exponent. And since the only other one we've learned is linear, then I know it's linear because nothing weird is going on with x.
Thank you, Bella. Number 11 is linear. Okay, last one. Let's see. Let's try Owen. Owen, what do you think about number 12? What kind of function is it? Definitely exponential. Little x as an exponent, exponential. That's right, Owen. It is exponential. Guys, thank you so much for helping me out today. Now remember, in your assignment, you're going to have a card sort, and you're going to have all these different kinds of functions, and you're going to have to kind of stack them on top of the graph or the name of the function. So good luck with that. If you want to write down some examples before you go to that card sort so you know which kind of functions are which, go for it. M squared, signing out.